When do you know when I should just like kind of, what you're saying is like, what hill should I die on, right? Like what is something that's important enough to stand my ground?
I think one of the important things about our relationship, about any relationship, is being able to get through disagreement. And like
Totally.
if we have a legitimate argument and I respect her and she respects me, we trust each other, we should hash it out.
Yeah.
And doing that is a productive. It doesn't break down the relationship. It builds it up.
Well, but I think what you're both doing, like even in this conversation, and I don't know if you did it in the prior conversations, right? Because you have an audience right now, you have another person, so you're trying to present your best self. Whereas sometimes when you're with your partner, you don't always necessarily present, like you're kind of going back and forth on it. And look, you can be right or you can be happy. Like I would probably rather be happy than right. But I think fundamentally, neither of you is saying something crazy. Like, and if you practice a sort of radical empathy, like what you're saying, if I understand it, is, look, you know what? Let's maximize the time that we have. Let's have more time in New York together. Let's do more things. We'll have more meals so we can go cool places to eat. Like with more time. Like oh my God, what a lovely thing. Like, many women would love to have a spouse who is like, oh my God, I want to spend more time with you. Like, I can't wait for us to like be together and doing our thing and like in this new environment. And it's like so fun to do different, like that's beautiful. That's lovely. If he was like, yeah, I don't care if we spend a day together, 3 days together, like whatever, it's all the same. I would be so sad. Like that's such a sad way to relate to someone. And my God, man, like when she was describing like her reason for it, I was like, oh my God, can I live with you? Like, cause she's doing the thing that I have to tell you, like I, as a man, I don't do either, which is she's actually thinking about, I want to clean the house before we leave. So when we come home, it's so nice to land in this nice house and there's a little food in the fridge and like things aren't apart. And so we can just get there and we're going to be tired and the time change and we're going to rest. And like, oh, like that's so lovely, right? Like you picked a good thing, man, to have a woman who thinks that way, who thinks ahead like that. Because by the way, that's for you too. Like that's not just for her, that's for you. Like she knows we're gonna get home and he's gonna be like, oh my God, we don't have anything to eat. And he's gonna go out, and because you're the kind of guy that'd go out and get it. And she doesn't want you to have to do that. She's like, oh no, that's good. Like we'll have a nice place and then we'll both get some good sleep that night. Like you're both so right. And you're both so great from that description. And yet this is like a disagreement. Like, and it's only a disagreement because, you have differing perspectives. And like, I don't think, banish from your vocabulary the term happy wife, happy life. Like, because although it rhymes more than like happy husband, happy life, like that's terrible advice. Like happy wife is a great thing to have. Happy husband is a great thing to have. Like you didn't get married because you didn't want to be happy. Like you got married because you wanted to make the other happy and you wanted to be happy yourself. At least I hope so. Like I hope you weren't like, I'm gonna marry her because I can make her happy. I'll probably be miserable in the process, but I can make her happy. Like I hope that wasn't it. No. I imagine what it was is, you know what? She can make me happy and I bet I can make her happy too. Or at least I can freaking try, Like to me, that's so great. And so I really think if like these are the kinds of ways that we can put ourselves in the head of, because look, she doesn't think like you and you don't think like her, and we can gender that all day. And I think there's something to be said for there is something gendered to it, right? I do think like I happen to be someone who believes there are some generalized distinctions between men and women in the way that we process things emotionally and intellectually. And again, not to suggest that there isn't variation in there, but I really do think there are some differences. And to the extent that there are differences that are complementary like this. Like, yeah, we're gonna sometimes, we're gonna miss each other a little bit because you don't get it, right? Mm-hmm. But think about what would have happened if in a non-defensive way, because like, so you're seeing it as positional, and I'm not criticizing you for that. I see things as positional too. Like, well, explain yourself. Why do you want to do it that way? And then, well, I would like to be right, And that's okay to want to be right, because really what I think you want is to be understood. So if she had said, hey, I understand what you're saying, right? Like, because I think you're both hearing each other as, no, you're wrong, no, you're wrong. And neither of you's wrong. Like facts all come with points of view. And so the facts are what the facts are. Like, how much it takes to make it easy. Like to make anything easy, right? Like you got young kids. the bottles, the bed, the stuff. By the way, wait till you see in the future. It's so great.
We got one young kid. When I said she's a mom of two, I was referring to myself.
Oh, to you? Okay, good. I didn't know. All right. So yeah. So that is
My
kind of a
second
mom
child,
of two.
yeah.
And she's doing a fine job of taking care of you. But having a 9-month-old, I have to tell you, I was just talking to someone the other day because my kids are 25 and 27. And I was saying to them, I remember the first time I got in a car and I didn't need anything. Like none of them there was no like goldfish crackers and diapers and do I have this and I got to put them both in their boosters. Like the first time they both just got in the seat and put their seatbelt on and I was like, I'm free again. Like it hasn't been like this for years. Like there's so much in front of you and there's so much both of you probably do for your child, for each other, that it sounds like you don't. I love the fact that you don't do what so many people who end up at my office do, which is come home every day and recite a list of things they did for the other person. Like, by the way, you know what I went through today for you? You know what I did today for you? And then and did you notice I also made the bet? And did you notice I also and they kind of count the cost. And instead, it sounds like you guys both just are part of this team. You're doing your own things. But part of the challenge of that, then, I applaud you for that. I think that's the way to conduct yourself in relationship. But I do have to say that one of the dangers of that is that, sometimes by making it look easy, like the other person doesn't even know. Like they don't even know what's involved, until you say it. And you're afraid to say it because you don't want the person to think you're complaining and counting the cost and comparing. Because again, if you said, well, I have to do this, 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 and this, you have every right to go, okay, well, I have to do this, 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 and this. And and now we're just having this like arms race of who is having a harder time. And there's no need for that. But there is a need for both of you to try to understand the other and be radical in that empathy. I think that's the solution to 99% of disconnection between a happily married couple.